In this lecture, we're going to do an animated ball bounce. This is going to be a slightly different demo that we're going to be doing because I am going to show you a reference that is very good to learn about QML. We're going to find a good example inside and we're going to run it. I think this is a good way to let you know of ways you can find things you don't know yet. Okay, the reference I was talking about is this book here. It is a book that is available online. It is called A Book About Qt5. It is contributed by some people. It is open source. It has an open license. You can read it, or you can even contribute to it if you happen to have things to add to it. I'm going to let you read on all these things if you want. So what we want to do is to go in chapter 5 on fluid elements, and we want to look at animations. And you see that they also talk about easing curves. They give you a good lecture about them. You can really look at this. So let's scroll down, find our thing. And we want to look at grouped animations. You see that they show how you can animate things. This is basically what we did in the last lecture. A sequential animation, you move on Y and on X, and a parallel animation where it happens at the same time. But this is not what we want. We want to do this thing here, a bouncing ball. So we're going to read this together and create a Qt project to play with us. So grouped animation can also be nested. For example, a sequential animation can have two parallel animations as child animations and so on. Okay, so animations can be nested. We can visualize this with the soccer ball example. The idea is to throw a ball from left to right and animate the behavior. Okay, this is what we want to do. To understand the animation, we are going to break this into 3 parts. We are going to animate on X from left to right. We are going to animate on Y, the ball going up. We are going to animate on Y, the ball going down. And we are going to apply some bouncing on this when the ball goes down. And we are going to rotate the ball over the entire animation. And they try to depict what we are doing here. We are going to animate on Y. We are going to start by animating on Y. We are going to go down. And over all this period, we are going to be rotating and moving in X. Let's go to Qt Creator, start a project, and follow up with this. Okay, here we are in Qt Creator. We are going to create our project. It's a Qt Quick application. We call it Animated Ball Bounce Demo. Save it in the usual location, choose our Qt version, choose our kit, and finish. We are going to do everything in our main QML file. We're going to skip this. This is kind of a container for everything you're going to do. The next step would be to add a background, which is in our case 2 rectangles with the green and blue gradients. Okay, we are basically going to put in this. The first rectangle is the sky. It has a gradient. A gradient is really a translation from different colors. Okay, you see this blue starts out a little bit darker and it goes bright as we go down. And the same thing happens to the green. It starts out light and it goes dark. So we're going to copy our rectangle here. And I think we should actually copy all these. Bring them back in our example here. This is good practice to copy and paste in your projects and learn how things are done. Control A, Control I to align. Okay, we have our background. The sky is going to be this gradient. The ground is going to be this gradient. And you see that the ground is anchored to the bottom of the sky and it is forced to touch the bottom of the window. We can actually run the application we have right now and see how it looks. Let's run. You see that our ground is not working. So what is the problem? We want to anchor the rectangle for the ground to the bottom of the parent. So we should change this to parent bottom. This is better. Let's run to see what we have now. Okay, you see that we have our sky and the ground, which is green. The upper rectangle is going to take 200 pixels of the height, and the lower one is going to take the remaining height. Let's bring the soccer ball on the canvas. The ball is an image stored under asset soccer ball. For the beginning, we would like to position it in the lower left corner near edge. Okay, it's going to start out here. So what we're going to do is basically bring in this image here, come back to our project, we put it below the second rectangle, the ground one. We want to add a resource file that is going to contain this image here. So I am going to come here, resources, add new, Qt resource file. We call it resource. This is done. We go back to where our project is stored. That should be here. We want to add a new directory called images. And I want to open the directory and put in my image of the ball. So if you don't have this ball, you can come back to this book here. I want to go to the start of it. And you're going to see that you can find the chapter examples in the assets folder. We are in chapter 5, so we should look for chapter 5. Let's look at that. You should download chapter 5 here, and you're going to extract this and find the balls and the examples that you need. So put that in your images folder like this, or you can even copy this image from the project that I provided with the course here. We're going to close this because we don't need it anymore. We're going to add a prefix, take it out because we don't want it, add files, images, we choose soccer ball. Notice the name here, soccerball.png. We save, we come back here, and we change this to images, soccerball.png. You see that it is recognized. And you see that they are saying root here. So we should define this root to be this window because it is our parent. So we should say root here. So it is going to be to the left bottom because X is going to be 0 and the height is going to be the height of the parent, which is this root window here, minus the height of the ball. And when we click, we are going to reset its X position, its Y position, its rotation, and we are going to start the animation. This is not defined yet, so you can safely ignore it now. We can actually comment this out. We don't want it to influence what we have. Let's run to see that we have our ball in the correct location. We have our ball here. This is good and right. Okay, we have our image in place. This is what we should have. The image has a mouse area attached to it. If the bar is clicked, the position of the ball is reset and the animation restarted. Let's start with a sequential animation for the two Y transitions. So they put in a sequential animation to animate the ball to go up and go down. Okay, it is going to animate to 20 and it's going to animate back to 240. And the duration is going to be 0.4 and 0.6. Let's copy this and put this in our project. We should put that below the image. This would work. So we have sequential animation. Okay, the ball is going to animate upwards and it's going to animate downwards. And you see that 40% of the time is going to be used upwards and 60% of the time is going to be used downwards. So we should define this duration here. Let's go up. I don't think we defined it. Let's do property and call this duration. And it is going to be 1 second. They said 3 seconds in the book, but I like to do 1. You can do whatever you want. And we take this chance to change this thing. This should do. We should go down now and uncomment this thing here. Okay, I hope you are seeing the process you can go through to design something fun. Let's run. The animation is going to restart and we are going to see the ball go up and down. Okay, that's what happens. Now what we want is to put in the X and rotation animation. Let's go back to the book. Next, we need to add the X translation. The X translation shall run in parallel with the Y translation, so we need to encapsulate the sequence of Y translations into a parallel animation together with the X translation. So this is what we're going to do. This is our sequential animation that we have. We are going to wrap that into a parallel animation, and we're going to add a number animation that is going to animate the ball on the X coordinate. Let's put in our parallel animation. The ID is going to be anim, and it is going to contain this sequential animation that we have here. Let's take it out, put it in, take out this ID because we don't want it anymore. But down here, we want to put another number animation. And the number animation is going to be what we have here. So we copy this and put that in here. Control A, Control I to align. So we are animating the ball. We are animating on X. It is going to animate up to 400, and the duration is going to be the duration that we have here. Let's run the application, and when we start, we are starting the parallel animation, and things are going to happen at the same time. You see that the ball animates from left to right. We are making some progress, right? Okay, this is what we have. At the end, we would like the ball to be rotating. For this, we need to add another animation to the parallel animation. We chose the rotation animation because it is specialized for rotation. Our rotation animation is going to be like this. It is going to happen all along from start to finish. Target is going to be ball, and it is going to rotate up to this angle here. Let's put that in our project. It's going to be below number animation because it needs to be included in the parallel animation here. This is what we have. Let's run. Okay, as we go, we are rotating. We are having something more similar to what we want. We should go back to the book and see the next step. That's the whole animation sequence. The one thing left is to provide the correct easing curves for the movements of the ball. For Y1 animation, I use easing out circ curve, as this should look more like a circular movement. Y2 is enhanced with easing out bounce, as the ball should bounce at the end. Okay, the ball should bounce as we end the animation. So what they did, they put an easing type to when the ball is going up, and it is easing type out circ. When the ball is going up, we ease out circ. This is our animation here. Let's go back to the book. When we go down, we ease out bounce. Let's go back to our code and do that. Let's look at the book again and see what we have. We don't have anything else. This is really all. Let's come to the project, run it. And when you click, you have a ball doing a bouncing movement here. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what we had to do in this lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. The most important thing is to see that you can use this book here to learn a few things that you might want to know that I didn't have a chance to cover. It is very rich in content. They talk about more things than I could cover in this course. You see, they talk about multimedia, they talk about shader effects, they talk about the canvas element. These are all very interesting topics, and you should refer to this book when you are done with this course. I think you are going to have enough ground to read it and understand it. Okay, this is all I had for this lecture. In the next one, we're going to look at states and transitions. I see you there.